Steph Curry hits some insane shots. 31 points. Jimmy with 25. Alperen Sengun was really the biggest offensive piece for the Rockets. 26 points. Jalen Green, he's got to play better in this one because he did not deliver when they needed him to the most. And with that, we bring in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Ryder. And Bill, first off, let me just say, I love that these two teams do not like each other. We see it on the court. They're going back and forth. But it's also refreshing that we got a close game where the Warriors, they were up 23 at one point, as we know, and then they started to play with their food. But in the end, that championship pedigree, that experience, I feel like is the reason why they were able to pull away from the Rockets down the stretch.
Yeah, mess around and find out doesn't apply when you have Steph Curry. You can mess around and still not find out because Steph was, you noted, some of the acrobatic circus shots. I was trying to get Chris to elevate Steph on the all-time list to absurd places, but he's an absurd talent. It's such a disappointment for the Rockets because they dominated rebounding. They dominated offensive rebounding. They made that comeback from down 23. They're on their home court, and they wanted to make a statement that they belong in the conversation of teams take seriously in the first round. You get beat on your home floor against a Warriors team that's favored in Vegas, even though they're the 7th seed in the 2-7 matchup, at least for one game. I know there's a long series to go. It is hard to take Houston seriously the way they want to be taken based on that performance tonight.
But you have to take Jimmy Butler seriously, right?
Man.
I mean, his addition to the team has been so transformative. What did you see from him? Because I know he wasn't as aggressive as you would have liked in the fourth quarter, but he did have some huge shots down late.
Credit to my colleague here, though, because you said, no, he's feeling the game out. He's going to make it work, and he had 2 huge buckets at the end. Look, had a great night, was an impact player, was great defensively, played a ton of minutes, and this is something they kept bringing up on the broadcast, and you're going to hear it not just throughout this series, I think going forward, because I think the Warriors are going to probably move forward. This is a team, this is a Warriors squad that have the best defense in the NBA since Jimmy Butler came into the mix. And fun fact, of their 4 championships, the Warriors have never won the whole thing without being a top 10 defense. And so his arrival on the defensive end, and we saw that in this game, and then the offensive contribution throughout the game, a little quiet throughout part of the fourth quarter, then really got some critical buckets to put away at the end, is a reminder that playoff Jimmy is real. That was real back when he was a member of the Miami Heat, and they maybe weren't the same kind of team as this Warriors squad. You couple Jimmy buckets with Steph Curry and that Warriors defense, this is a very good basketball team right now.
They are definitely going to be fun to watch no matter how long this series goes. Now, when you look at the Rockets, okay, Sengun leads the way. As great of a defensive team as they are, right, and as great of a rebounding team as they are, they struggle when it comes to scoring points, whether it's finishing or just making tough shots. Jalen Green held the single digits. How much more do they need from him going forward?
They need a ton more. I'm gonna get real critical here. I'm gonna say something nice about the Rockets in advance. They're ahead of schedule. They weren't supposed to be the 2 seed this year. And what Rafael Stone, the GM, and Ime Udoka, the head coach, and this young core has put together, it's really impressive for the future. But by the standards of now, you're the 2 seed, you're supposed to advance, you're supposed to compete. You're right, Chris, they're not good offensively. They shot below 40% from the field, just over 20% from the three-point line. They barely made half of their free throws. It's amazing they dominated the offensive rebounding. They dominated 22-6. They were the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA this year. But again, as my colleague noted during the game while we were watching it, it doesn't matter if you get 2, 3, 5 chances if you can't put them away. They have to go out there and they have to bring the same intensity, the same defensive effort, the same rebounding effort. And then you're right, other guys other than Sengun have to step up. I'd love to see Green do it. I'd love to see Amen Thompson do it. Fred VanVleet was awful throughout the game, was 1 of 10 when he hit a big 3. He's a veteran that's got to at least be more efficient. They need, and it's been a problem all year. I know this is part of the deal. They're not very good offensively. They're great at everything else. You want to beat a Warriors team that's the best defense since Jimmy Butler came into the mix and a top 10 offense over that same stretch. You got to be good on both sides of the ball if you're Houston.
Right, so you got to be good on both sides of the ball. And as we look ahead to Game 2, what's one area that you really want the Rockets to focus on if they want to tie things up and avoid going down 0-2?
So there's so many, but I'll focus on an easy one. Make your free throws, because you do have a size and a height and athletic advantage over this Warriors team, and it certainly showcases itself in that rebounding advantage we're talking about. It also means that you're going to get to the free throw line a lot. This is a bigger, more physical, more athletic team, the Rockets and the Warriors. They're bigger, more athletic, and more physical than almost everyone they're going to play in the the NBA, including this Western Conference playoffs, if they can advance. So you're going to get to the free throw line. You're going to be banging in the paint. You're going to get chances at free buckets. And against this Warriors squad, you got to take advantage of that. 55% from the free throw line is not going to cut it if you want to compete in this series.
Yeah, the Rockets, or the Warriors, I should say, 4-0 all time against the Rockets in playoff series, and they're one step closer to making it 5-0. Bill Ryder always undefeated on the desk, baby.
He obviously was having a dominant game inside, and you got some scoring from your bench there in the third quarter. But what did you think about the half-court offense creation in general?
Not our best, obviously. You only score 85. It's not a great offensive night, and the numbers show that. But I think it was 6 for 29 from 3, 11 for 20 from free throw line, and 17 turnovers that gave up 25 points. So not our best offensive night by any means, like I said. Hold somebody 95, you'd expect to win if you have a decent offensive night. And not only his shots, but like I said, turnovers playing in the crowd. The misses in the crowd are the same as turnovers, basically. So had our chances. Got it to 4-point game with 2:34, I think, and gave up a 3 there. But, guarded well enough to win.
Did you expect to deploy Steven as much as you did tonight, and do you now expect to deploy him that much to the rest of the series?
Yeah, I mean, you want to use him. You got these days in between. He played, only played 20, and we planned on using him in the 20 to 25 range. So yes, we did.
Piggybacking off of that, how important was Steven tonight, just with that concept of really doing the dirty work?
Yeah, he was big. I think we dominated the glass, we dominated some areas, but had a poor offensive showing in general, like I said. So he did what he does. Got the extra possession. We had some wide open naked threes that we missed off those kickouts, and opportunities on layups on the second chance points. And so, yeah, we shot 39%, and obviously he was a bright spot there, doing what he usually does.
Hey, man, why do you think Jalen Green struggled so, and what might you need from him kind of moving forward the rest of the series offensively?
I mean, they went after him some, but, played in the crowd a little bit too much, and it's not like I said, it's not really the turnovers as much as, he only had one, but those shots in the crowd where you got to find your outlets. And so this is a team that's loading up. When he has his isolations on, whether it's up top or getting to the lane, they're packing the paint, and you got to find your outlets. That's going to be a big key throughout the series.
Coach, there was a big gap in the rebounding department, but in terms of overall pace, how can you try and find the gaps and advantages in the open floor?
You said overall pace?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get some stops and get out and run. I think, they hit some timely shots, the shot clock shots late in the side out of bounds there, and they just felt like they hit 2 or 3 of those where we regarded well enough. And, our mantra all year has been turn defense to offense, and when we do get those opportunities, we got to cash in on them. It felt like we missed quite a few layups out in the open court, or we're a little sloppy there, had some turnovers as well when we had the numbers advantage.
With Jabari being one of the only few people that had any type of offensive flow tonight and his ability to shoot over, anybody on the court, is there any thought of him possibly moving into the starting lineup next game, or is it too early to kind of tell on that?
I mean, it was, some guys did struggle offensively. You're not going to overreact to one game, but if guys do play better, we have a chance there. A 10-point loss, and like I said, holding somebody at 95, it wasn't offensively poor showing. The defense was good enough, but not going to overreact to that game. Like I said, it's some of the guys' first time, and we had our chances.
Và không ăn thật vậy. Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn làm vòng. Vòng hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là khăn giấy. Mọi người, hôm nay vòng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là giấy lau. Bây giờ mình bắt đầu làm nhé.
Ngon lắm.
Không ăn. Lần này ta không thích ăn thật đấy chứ.
Vậy cô về xuống.
Cô ăn rồi, cô no rồi.
Cứ ăn đâu. Cô Bình chưa ăn đâu.
Lần này quyết tâm thay đổi bản thân để đi cắt tóc. Cắt tóc rồi làm gì? Cô muốn đi cắt tóc, nhưng mà cái mặt cô phải bé. Mặt cô to ăn này, cô không cắt tóc được.
To hơn quả bóng hay sao ấy. Quả bóng của con là
Đóng cửa Long ơi.
Đúng rồi thì đó.
Tí đóng hộ cô cái cửa à?
Không tí rồi. Xuống ăn thì đó. Không đừng.